My son and daughter-in-law just come back from a camping trip. They'd just been gone for a week, set up at up to Townsend, and actually set up, I don't know the park that they was in, but they camped all week, and they took some pictures, and of the pictures, I got them to print me off a couple of the pictures, and I'm going to do a wood transfer. In other words, the picture transferred on a piece of wood, like a piece of saw wood. Okay, I've got it laid out. I'm just gonna, I'm using the what's it called? Polycrylene, and that's what I'm gonna stick it on with. I've put a little mark in each corner of the picture after lining it up. So now I kind of know where to drop it on and do it, but I'm going to flip it this way to put the, okay. I went back and I used the brush, the hand, when I put it on my hand, it just didn't put enough resin down. So now I'm sticking the photo on, and I can see now it's soaking in through the paper, so that's what I wanted to do. I'm just trying to work any bubbles out.
I'm just using those sticks.
It looks like it's sticking really good, so I believe it's going to work for me. We'll see. First time I ever done this, so if it messes up, oh well. It looks like now it's wetted out pretty good underneath. I can start seeing it through it. Now I just need to let it set and dry. That looks like it's got it set in there, so we're going to let it set for about an hour and dry, and then I'm going to come back and get the paper off and see if it transfers the image. I'll be back in about an hour. Okay, it looks like this thing's dried out. I just took my finger out. I know you're supposed to wet it first, but it's peeling a big hunk off, and that's what I want to do before I wet it. So I'm going to go ahead and peel some of it off and see what happens. I'm just getting rid of some of the paper is what I'm trying to do. I don't want to lose my colors either. The wetness would keep it from doing that, but what I'm thinking about doing, if I can get some of this off without losing my, like it's doing, I'll sit there and make sure it's even dried better. Right across Beverly there. I think the picture's still a little wet. So I'm going to let it, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to let it dry on out. I may run it, I don't know. We'll do it on the other side if I run it. But I'm getting a lot of the paper off now. So when I peel the last little bit of paper off, it should be a whole lot easier for me. See if I can get this little strip right here off. I can still feel the dampness on it though. Okay, we just don't want to lose this face. What it's doing is leaving a layer of paper down. So now that paper's super thin, and I believe I've only had it out there for about 20 minutes. This out here is pretty dry, but that paper still feels a little damp. So I'm going to let it dry a little bit more because I don't want to lose the image when I go scraping it. So until here in a minute. Okay, I keep forgetting to turn the camera on. I just took a wet towel, a wet washcloth, and letting it soak that paper off is what I'm trying to do. I let it sit for a little bit longer, even run a hairdryer on it a little bit. I'm impatient, so I was trying to to hurry it up. But we're going to see what happens. If it looks like it's peeling everything, I'll just quit doing it and let it dry more. You can see it's pulling just a little bit of paper. All I'm wanting to do is remove that last little layer of paper, leaving the ink on. If you rub real hard, you'll peel the ink right off the picture. And I'm going to put if this turns out okay, I'm going to put a clear coat of tabletop bar stuff. There comes Beverly's face. Her eyes come in. Look at that, ain't that looking good? Good little surprise gift for them. Oh, see, I pulled ink that time on Brandon. I put too hard, didn't I? So you gotta lightly rub. I rubbed it too hard. And I expect to lose a little bit of color. There comes Brandon's face. There we go. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this and then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. I'm going to put some that tabletop poly, actually it's the bar clear coat epoxy. I'm going to put the clear epoxy on it and it should shine, and then I'm going to keep the bark from falling off by putting all that resin on there. Should keep their bark on from now on so it look like bark and won't be peeling off. Okay, I took a hairdryer and dried it. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but you can see little paper particles right in here on Brandon's forehead that I need to rub on off. And you can see a couple little spots where it's still got a little bit of paper on it. So I'm going to wet it again and slightly rub it off. And then I'll be ready to put the epoxy on it. Okay, I took the towel and wiped off some more of the paper. I believe I'm pretty good. I'm going to hair dryer it just a little bit. And then I'm going to put the epoxy. When I put that epoxy on, it should pop that color back and make it look better. If you wanted a faded wood type thing, this would be good to where, you know, it's kind of like a faded wood. The camera actually makes it look a little better than it is. But when I put that epoxy on it, then it's going to look really good. It's going to pop the shine on it, and it'll be worth giving it to somebody for Christmas or something like that, or a gift. So let's see what happens. Okay, I've got it held up on these little stilt things here. Picked them up at Hobby Lobby, which is pretty neat. Now everything should be pretty well, and I'm getting ready to put epoxy on it. So I'll be right back. Okay, getting ready to mix up my epoxy. This is what epoxy I've got. It's for tabletop resin, epoxy resin. This is the thicker A and B. This is the thicker side. One side's runnier. This one's real thick, so I'm going to use, I always use the thicker one first because it's easier for me, I don't know if you can see in there or not, it's easier for me to come back with the second half runnier to make my 50-50. So that one is done. And You can use measuring cups and measuring different things. I don't, because I use a lot of resins with my fiberglass and everything, so I'm pretty well got it figured out. I'm gonna probably mess it up since I said that, but here we go. That should be pretty good. That should be close to 50-50. If it's, you know, if it's way off, then it ain't gonna never kick. It ain't gonna never get hard. But most likely, if you're really close, it'll do it. So I'm gonna stir this up, and then I'll film back and show you what it looks like with it on it. Okay, I got it mixed up. Always scrape your stick off, scrape the sides and the bottom. I always like saying stir it like scrambled eggs. But it's done mixed up. Now all I'm going to do, because since I do want it all over this bark area and everything, I'm just going to pour it right on top. Now Brandon did have like on his lip he had something messed up on the paper, so it's going to have him a little bad spot on his lip, but other than that, it looks pretty good. Let's see what happens. Now I'm just going to spread this out. And I do have my brush there. I'll probably use my brush so I can get the sides really well. And I'll take a torch and flash this off so to get the little air bubbles out. You could have used the propylene or propylene, something like that. Cellulene, if you wanted to. I'm using the epoxy because I have it. It may not do great, but it may look okay. I'm hoping it still look dull. I want it to kind of have a dull look, but I want it to be kind of mixed. I want it to be glossy too. Now, if you do use a brush, clean your bristles. Pull all your bristles, you know, with the other hand, sit there and work your brush to where you ain't going to lose bristles onto your painting or on your wood. Now I'm just pulling some of that resin over to this edge because it's got it covered pretty good all over right now. So I'm just mainly wanting to get the edge done where the bark is. So now this bark should never fall off. I mean, it can take falling off the wall and you shouldn't lose your bark. Which is a good thing. There's a bristle. I'm still moving resin. Now this side over here, back underneath, is the hardest part because I got to go the other way with it. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll have GoPros coming up soon, so I think I got some GoPros coming in on Friday of next week. So I should be able to just set one up and film it. Now see how I got bark in it where I was on that bark? My brush put bark into the painting, or into it. I'm just going to scrape it off. Bad thing is I'm losing a lot of resin too that I'm going to have to drag back over. That's the bad thing about the brush. It will, on the bark, it would be better if you did use the cellulene to go ahead and do your first coat with it. That way it would actually seal up a lot of this bark from coming off. But you would do the same thing. I'm going to try to clean my brush a little bit and get this off of it. Some little bark pieces there. What I don't want, it's on the picture. I mean, out here it ain't going to matter as much. And actually I seen that in the camera more than I seen it looking down on it. But here's the part I really like to get, is this underneath side. I don't know if you can see that or not. Nope, you can't, because I can't. There we go. I should have some of my cup left. Put some out of my cup so I don't have to put it on top of the picture. I mean, on top of the tree bark. Yeah, the picture. That's looking pretty good now. That's getting it. Bad thing is I'm about to push it off my little stilts. Oh, there went one over. Man down, man down. Okay, here, let's spread these out a little bit better. See, I've still got some resin in there I can do on the, use that on the bark. I think I need something right in here. I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's doing nicely now. Okay, so the edge is looking pretty good now. All the way. There's another bristle right there. Where'd it go? Get that off there. Okay, now I just want to make sure it's good and even on the top and then flash it off. Right there looks like it's a little... It should self-level itself. Okay, right there's something going on. We're putting that bark back on it, ain't I? So now we know. Okay, looking pretty good. Let me get the bubbles off of it. I'm going to take my torch over here and flash over it. I don't even care about the bark part being popped. I just want the picture area to pop all the bubbles I can. Okay, something real quick while I'm showing you. As you can see, it's starting to drip. So about every 15-20 minutes, come back and see how I scrape that epoxy off. Go around and scrape the bottom edge off. That way you won't have this little like a little button on there of epoxy that you'll have to sand off later if you don't. I don't know how this tree bark stuff will work, but there's not too bad. It ain't too much runoff. But it will run off just a little bit. So I'll come back about probably for the next 20 minutes, I'll come back and do it again. Okay, I just went around and took some more of the sticky off the bottom. It is getting really, it should be the last I have to do that. It's not got any kind of big drips or nothing. This is getting pretty sticky, so it's just about done. This is what it's going to look like. It will still stiffen out a little bit, but I believe that's pretty good. I think maybe the next time if I used a darker picture, since it lightened the picture up, that might even look better. As you can see where I rubbed it, it kind of broke through some of the wood come through, which is fine. I kind of like that. That looks good. It's kind of breaking up the edge. But like in here in places, and the wood is coming through there. That's that spot where I said I was going to do it on the back side, and I flipped it over because that would have been right in Brandon's face on the other side if I did it, because it would have placed it about right there. So that is looking good. I'll come back tomorrow and look at it, but I believe that's good to go. Okay, here's the finished product. I've added a little hook on it, and I put a little bumpers on the back. You can see how the back I didn't have to do no sanding or nothing, where I went around with the brush and cleaned it off. The bark really looks good. It's all glazed over. And I'm just going to set this on the porch here. And good, shiny, finished really good. Most of the little bubbles are gone, so looks good. I think they'll be happy. Thanks for watching.